good morning. I want to talk about one of my favorite book series. It is by Veronica Rossi. It is the Under the Never Sky series, and that's the title of the first one. So our main characters are Arya and Perry. This is a dystopian romance book. So it is in the future, and what happens is that the world starts to undergo natural disasters that are so bad that it's actually killing people off. And what they have found to be the best solution is to create these giant dome structures for people to live in. Now, unfortunately, the domes don't have enough room for everyone in society. So back in the past, they did like a lottery and only certain people were able to get into the domes, and then there are people who were left outside. Now, a lot of people who were left on the outside ended up dying, but there are groups of people who ended up living and surviving. Our main character Arya lives inside the dome, and our main male character Perry lives outside the dome. Now, in the dome, to keep people kind of sane, they created, like, I don't remember the technical name for it, but almost like fantasy realms that they can go into. So they have a device over their eye, and they can shift to an alternate world or an alternate place. It's kind of like being in VR, right? So you have your here and now, but at the same time, they can also shift and go to like a medieval realm or go to an underwater realm. They can go to all these different places by just thinking about it. So Arya's mother is a scientist in the dome, and she has been gone for about a month, and Arya has not been able to get a hold of her. So Arya comes up with this clever plan to get the dome leader's son to take her to a broken down area of the dome, because the lightning and thunderstorms are so severe that it actually cracked the shield on the outside structure where they had a bunch of plants there. So she convinces him to sneak out to this area, and while she's there, her plan is to trick him into telling her any information he knows about her mom. Unfortunately, while they're there, he convinces them to turn their devices off, so they're completely offline and they can't be tracked by the superiors who live within the dome. So they do this. Unfortunately, when they go offline, there is a weird part of the brain where the guys go crazy. Not just specifically guys, but girls do too. But the three guys that are with Arya and her girlfriend, they go crazy. They lose their sense of humanity, and they start being really aggressive. They start a fire in this outside dome area, and the fire catches, and they're pretty much basically almost going to die. And Perry, who was in that part of the dome, he was able to come in through like a crack in the wall, and he was trying to find food for his tribe. He is there and he sees what's going on, and he sees that Arya is being attacked by this guy. So he comes in and he separates it and basically knocks the guy out, takes Arya and takes her to another part of that outside dome vegetation area and puts her there away from the fire. When Arya wakes up, she is in the med bay. She's really confused, and the leader of the dome comes in, talks to her, gets her side of the story, which as you're reading it, you kind of know that he's like a piece of crap and that he doesn't believe her typically. So he tells her she's going to go see her mom, that he's going to transport her there, and that everything is fine and dandy, not a big deal. And he asked her about her eyepiece because his son ripped her eyepiece out of her head so he could have the recording of, him beating her up, basically. Now, Perry actually stole the eyepiece and has it with him on the outside. As Arya is being taken to her mom, what happens is The dome leader dumps her in the middle of the outside world. Now, to Arya's knowledge, she's going to die. Nobody survives in the outside because the air is poison, basically. That is what she's been told. That's what she's been raised to be told. And since she just saw the 3 guys go kind of crazy from being on like the outside, it's like, you know, she knows she's about to like kick the bucket, basically. And as she is there, thinking she's dying on the outside and that her lungs and throat are burning, she actually lives. She prevails. The people who just dropped Arya off into the wasteland actually go to Perry's tribe in an attempt to kill him. They don't succeed, and they actually kidnap his nephew and take off. Now, Perry feels incredibly responsible for this situation because his nephew's already super sick and like basically dying, and now his nephew's been taken and he has to return to the tribe and face his brother. And his brother is just obviously angry. That's his only kid. His wife has already died, and Perry leaves the tribe knowing that if he stays there, he will kill his brother. And after he leaves, by just a crazy coincidence, he meets up with Arya during a storm and protects her and takes care of her. Now, they don't really like each other for a long time. He has a lot of resentment and doesn't like her because she's a dweller, or, you know, she lives in a dome. So she lives in a dome. He lives outside. So they hate each other. They don't get along for quite a while. It takes a hot minute for them to actually get along and coexist nicely with each other. And then they fall in love, which is super cute. And may I say, also in the story, Arya is an amazing opera singer. So Perry kind of falls in love with that as well. You also get to meet Roar, which is Perry's like secondhand best man. They fight together. There is a lot that goes on in the story aside from Arya trying to get back to her mom. Perry is also trying to get his nephew back from the dwellers. So for the people on the outside who actually could not get into the domes, even though some of them had died, some of the other ones who had lived, and not everyone, but some of the people who lived and survived, they actually somewhat mutated, like certain abilities enhanced. Like some people can hear really well, other people can see really well, and some see really well in the dark, and other people can smell really good. So for example, Perry, you come to find out, can smell just as good as a wolf, but he doesn't just smell smells, he can actually smell tempers. So he can smell when someone's angry, he can smell when someone's sad, he can smell when someone's menstruating. He can also smell when people lie because they release like a certain scent, so he can tell when they lie. He sees in the dark better than he can see in the day. Like, he has really good eyesight anyway, but nobody can see as well as he can at night. That's like his special traits. And his buddy Roar is able to hear better than like anyone else. And when you have these abilities, you have to get certain tattoos to show what your abilities are. So everyone in different tribes, like if you have someone who can hear really well, he'll have a very specific looking kind of tattoo on his body, so you know that he can hear really well. And there are other tribes on the outside that are bad. There's cannibal tribes, there's the storms, there's a lot going on. And this is the first book in the series, and that's like, it's amazing. It's an amazing story. You will really like the characters. As for character development, I think Perry is a very strong character to begin with. He's very resilient. I don't really see a lot of character weakness in him. Like, even his arrogance is well placed because he's such an amazing fighter. Arya does a lot of growth as a character herself because she becomes very resilient to the outside world and kind of finds her own way and her own path. So if you like dystopian romance, this is it. This is a good book for you. It is pretty much age appropriate for everyone. There's like one sex scene in the book, but it's kind of like one of those ones where it's like, and we kissed, and then we became one, and that's it. So I personally think it's a young adult book. That's what it is. It's a young adult romance. So I definitely think it's pretty appropriate. Maybe 15 and older. I don't know. You know, discretion advised. It don't matter. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, bye everyone.